What's going
Call a meeting to order. Excuse me, Heather, is there likely to be anybody on the video who wants to speak?
I can look and see if anyone is there.
No, thank you very much. Now, we have item 3 is the approval of the agenda and the additions to the agenda. I have, would ask you to delete 9.3 and add under 9.6 Remembrance Day. Under correspondence 7.0, there are 2 letters. Do you want the names of those, the writers? Yeah, okay. And then, are there any other additions to the agenda? All right. Does it meet with the commission's approval that we ask Lisa to do her presentation now instead of at item 9.1?
So moved.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. The
Second.
floor is yours, Lisa.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. My purpose today is to explain to you what the IT shared service is that you receive from the Municipal Joint Services Board. And at this time of year, I am meeting with all of our clients because we have contracts that don't renew. And so every prior to 6 month end of our contract, we come in and we speak to everybody and talk about the services that we offer, make sure everyone's happy with them, and that we continue. So let me start by saying a lot of what we do is sort of back end stuff. You don't necessarily see it because we are looking after equipment and infrastructure, if you will, that enables you to safely do your business on the internet with your computer, or to work together on files, or to run whatever business it is that you have that has to do with a computer or a telephone or a network. So that being said, on the first page here, what you have in terms of your current services, not the cover page, right, the second one, it talks about the current services that we provide. I just want to say a little bit about my team. So the team now at the Municipal Joint Services Board, there's myself. I came in a year ago, and David Muse had left. I replaced David Muse. I came in a year ago as the director. And at that time, we had 3 people who had been for quite a while who know your setup very well, Derek and Sean, and we had Sebastian, and Sebastian moved on, and we hired 2 younger techs to help us so that we could, and my purpose was to change a little bit our focus. So our focus was really just on answering tickets for everybody. If you had a ticket, just answering that, providing desktop support, changing that from a, if you will, a cost saving to more value add, because our environment has become way more, how we say, treacherous. You know, there's a lot more cybersecurity incidents. We have a lot more breaches. We have a lot more attempts to try to get you, phishing attempts to try to get you to do things, malicious attempts. So my focus has been to change what we're doing from just tickets to more value add, and helping also each one of the municipalities evolve what they're offering to the people in their constituents, like your constituents, right? Improving, evolving your actual services and your service delivery. That's kind of where we're headed. So that being said, we are supporting 4 areas here. So your main office, and then of course all of you, the commissioners. So we, with Heather and her staff, one other person who is Maxine. Happy to meet you. And then also the Lido. I didn't realize that, but we support the Lido. So if any time there's a problem with any of the security items or any of their network or anything, that they call Derek, and Derek helps them out. He troubleshoots that. So I found that out today.
This is for the Lido staff.
It's for the actual facility itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right. Yeah, so we just troubleshoot, we help, we don't own the equipment there or run that. Contracts for you, but if you ever have a problem, you call and we help and connect you with the right people.
good
This
to
is what
know.
Derek told me today, which I just found out about. So. So what we do for you is we provide this unlimited support. So if any of you have problems, you raise tickets and you can do that to infinitum really for as many problems that you have. We also, the equipment that you have, when it becomes end of life or if it needs to be replaced, we help you procure that. I think Heather is fairly tech savvy, so does a lot of things to help day to day, but that is always available to you. If you don't want to use Heather so much so that she can do her job, you have us. So we're also, because you're paid for the service, right? So we offer you, of course, with the computers, and then the Microsoft 365. So that is email. It's more than just email though. It's where you could probably use it a lot more than you do, where you would store documents, where you would communicate or work as a team online if you had to. I don't know if you ever do any online work together.
We do it a little bit. I'm quite used to being able to do that. So
Yeah.
we can certainly.
You're
do
talking
more.
teams and things like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we do.
Yeah, I just, I don't know Microsoft 365 very well, and I find it very awkward to use. I'm just used to different systems.
Right? Yeah. So, and that's a lot of people when they make that shift. Microsoft 365 has been around for a long time.
And it seems old fashioned, you know, it's hard to save things and find them again, and it's just clunky.
I call my daughter.
Right, so that may be the it's set up for you, or maybe what you're used to using. I don't know if you're a Google user or.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if you're used to, it's like when you use a Microsoft operating system and an Apple operating system. It's between the two of them, there's pros and cons and there's clunky between the two of them. I use Google at home when I use Microsoft at work, and they, like I said, they have their pros and cons. So with regards to the 365, we manage that tenant for you. So we manage the security, we manage the backup. So any data that's in there, your email and everything gets backed up. So if you ever had a loss, we have all the history of it. We also help with Sage, when I think that I don't know that we do a whole lot for you, but it is your accounting software that we do support if necessary, plus your desktop phones. So for Eastlink, a lot of other organizations want us to get rid of the Eastlink desktop phones, but that's in the future, potentially. Something maybe doesn't bother me, maybe we like it. And then we have also your domains. So you have like 4 different online domains, which we manage for you. And if there was any ever breaches, we would take care of those. We would be your first responders, if you will, if there were a breach. And the cyber insurance, we have available other kinds of services to you. For example, security training, IT security training, because our insurers require us to make that available to all the users, because unfortunately we are the weakest link when it comes to breaches. And we also offer to you, if there's ever any need to do a big project, we would be able to help you. And like I said, we want to be able to do more of that and less of just responding to tickets, because that's not really valuable per se. So that's it in a nutshell what we offer. I think I'd say also a little bit about the shared service. So on the next slide, we had to make a presentation recently about the Municipal Joint Services Board and us offering shared services, and why anyone would want to join a shared service or be a part of a shared service. So I think that the benefit that you get, that you may or may not take advantage of, and you might want to think about how you could take more advantage of, is that we have a lot of, we have 5 experts, where if you just hired one person half-time, you would just get the bare minimum. And maybe you only care about the bare minimum until you want to do something else. Then you would have to procure it. So we take away that need for procurement with other services available. And as I mentioned, we are more focused on value add. Shared services are not just about cost savings, they're also about adding a lot of value and being able to do things you couldn't do if you were by yourself.
Can you give me an example?
Of a shared service, or what we can do with
Yeah.
it. So, for example, if you had to contract a service of, let's say you wanted to get a new building that you were going to build, and you needed network connectivity in it, you would need someone like us to come in and help with where does electricity go, where would the cables go, where would we put the boxes for Wi-Fi and then the network, we would be able to advise on that. That's,
And that would be part of our contract, or that would be extra, we would have to pay extra for that.
it would, if it's more than 5 hours, we charge a project management fee. So if you have stuff that's under 5 hours, so it just falls under your contract.
But if we were building a new building,
It'd be more than 5 hours.
there, it would be the contractor's electrical engineer.
Yeah, that's right, but what they wouldn't do for you, at the very end, they wouldn't probably come in unless it was a part of the
Oh, I
scope
see.
to
Yeah.
set it up to be
Okay.
ready for you to
Okay.
actually use.
Mhm.
We've done that for the district of Shelburne, we've done it for the town of Yarmouth, where the town of Shelburne is asking us to do it for them.
Mhm.
That's one example. Another example could be about you wanted to make changes to your audiovisual equipment and you wanted to change your setup in this room. For example, the town of Bridgewater asks for help on that. The municipality district of Lunenburg asks us for help on that. So we could advise on what equipment you should use, what you should buy, what other people use. Because we know, for example, what every other municipality does when they live stream their stuff. That's another example.
Why does the system go down so much?
When you say the system.
Well, it's planned down, we're constantly getting these messages. the
Sean's
service
always
is
saying
down.
stuff.
So once a month, the
Feels like more than once a month.
it's 3 hours once a month.
Okay.
Then he asks everyone to log off of
Yeah.
town suite,
Can suite, yeah.
but not who doesn't.
Yeah, we don't have.
We don't
that,
have
so we
that.
don't- Yeah.
Yeah, but you're on the distribution list, you find out, but the reason why is because he is patching and patching the servers. So that they're the ones that hold the data that's backed up. And they require, there's regular changes all the time to the operating system of the servers. So that's why. So it's part of security.
Yeah.
Lisa, in our Outlook office or whatever it might, 365, whatever it's called. In the package that was given the sold to the commission, there were three special ability packages. Maxine has one, Heather has one, and I don't know where the third one is. And I would assume that the third one would go to the chair. And that included Microsoft 365 and et cetera. I tried to do something. Well, I tried to save a response and said, no, you can't do that. You have to ask your administrator permission to do that. So it's somewhere floating around in cyberspace. Not important because I wasn't particularly enthralled with my response. But I personally subscribe to Office, Microsoft Office, or 365, or whatever it is called now. On my ticket. It was never explained to me how I, as a commissioner, could receive it through MJSP.
Okay. So do you not have any equipment at all that belongs to MJSB? Do you have a computer that's been issued?
No,
Oh, so none of you have any equipment?
no,
No,
Oh,
we
okay.
spend a lot of money for nothing.
I did for a while there. I got the laptop that you now have.
Yeah, right.
I just said I wouldn't do video conferencing. on a
And
laptop.
saving in the system seems to be very awkward, and it's hard to set up folders and files.
In
Microsoft 365,
OneDrive?
whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
OneDrive means nothing to me.
No, not to me either.
Oh.
I mean, not in 365. I use OneDrive all the time, but in my system, I can't find it in. Really, the only thing that I have access to is email, really.
So I would have to investigate precisely what you're talking about, because I don't really have enough information, I think, to get figure out what your problem, what happened, but
You
what,
mean I'm not explaining it very clearly? Imagine that.
it's not that, no, you're doing a great job, it's just. And I would like to investigate what level of licenses you may have. And then you find out what it is that you, because to keep the price down and you don't need all the functionality.
Mhm.
You would have a minimum type of license. You can have like, a license that has everything in it, or you can have a license that just has email in it, or has. It builds, so I need to check on that license.
Yeah, I don't believe you folks have access to the OneDrive folders. So,
I did once.
Sorry.
It's on-
My computer keeps saying verifying OneDrive. So, but maybe that's on my Microsoft package.
One thing we know for sure is that when you're running your own personal license that you purchased. And that profile is saved on
That I
your device,
rent,
pardon me,
that I rent.
okay, whatever.
Yeah, 365.
And that profile is saved, when you then have a work and you have to switch between the two, sometimes it can get confused between the two. And Microsoft is just a genius about confusing, so so that could potentially be why, but we could investigate and find out and sort it out. You can, so yeah, I mean, it's up to, you can have what you need. I don't know what you might all need, so we have to talk about that, I think.
The only thing that I need is I would like somebody to show me how to create folders and save my emails, because right now I've got like thousands of emails just sitting there in the inbox, which is ridiculous, and I can't move them.
Okay, I think that's easy.
Well, that,
that should be, that's.
that's my email.
That's
like-
Because I've asked it to create folders, because I do it all the time,
Okay,
and it just won't.
If you don't like the ones they give you,
Oh, maybe
there's
that's
a
the
bunch that
problem.
are there like archive.
Yeah, because I want to make my own
Yeah.
folders.
Within Outlook, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you can, but I mean, I think they kind of lock you into these folders unless you know the tricky part. about it.
Yeah, this
Make
would be-
folders to go in your
Under
inbox.
conversations, your emails.
Oh, yeah, see, I'd like to make folders by subject.
You can-
Again,
you can do
under
that.
conversations, you can open that up
Oh,
and
okay,
have a hierarchy of. all of
okay,
your-
I'll play with that, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. See, no, lack of training, that's all.
Yeah, but you're right, you come from other systems. I don't use Gmail, I don't use any of these other things, I still use an old time email client. Which, you know, you can right click and something happens.
Yeah.
But with this Microsoft crap, the context menu is never what you actually want. When you right click, it's all these weird things like delete, well, no, I don't want to delete it, I want to move it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
or
I don't
something like
Microsoft.
that, I just do not love, but I understand it's the way it goes. It's just there are oddities to the Microsoft way. I mean, I'm a total Windows guy, so it's not like I don't understand. But I did actually have a question before we move
Go
on.
ahead.
Has it been like slow the last few days, the email? Oh, I find sometimes it takes forever. The animations go around and around.
It depends
and
on
around.
where you're connecting.
Oh,
So it depends on your home network, because that's what you connect to the internet with, is whatever's
oh
happening.
no, it's not that. I have fiber optic giga, so it's not
So
a
it's not
problem.
that, okay.
What happens some days is the little thing where the mail comes out of the envelope there at the
Yeah.
beginning, and it just does that over. That's not my computer. And things like that. Other days, it'll just sit there and it won't open, it'll just be a blank
Maybe
screen.
you need to
Yeah.
defrag your computer.
Well, no, you can't defrag SSDs, it's not good for them. But it's, I just found the last little while, is it because I have too much archived email? It has to go through all of them to present them to me or what?
I cannot sit here and tell you honestly what your problem is, and need to have someone to take a look at it.
No, it's just weird because it didn't always do that. It was almost instantaneous.
I'll tell you, we did have a lot of issues after Hurricane Lee,
Yeah,
and
maybe
we had
that's
to have
the
ESOP come out, and because it shook loose a lot of cables. And it slowed a lot of, we had some issues in the town of Bridgewater. A lot of areas needing, two sites needing us to call it Eastlink to replace lines.
So it's not something that is obviously happening to a lot of people then.
Just you.
Probably.
I get, when I'm texting a message, just keeps going round and round and round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
I just assume it's busyness in the network.
Yeah, it
You
must-
guys must have bigger network than that.
Well, we have,
It shouldn't be able to overload that network.
well, it depends.
Your query should not be that big a deal.
The fact of the matter is that we're all on the same private network,
Oh,
right? So Bridgewater, Municipality of Lunenburg, Mahone Bay, MJSP, Village of Chester, Region 6,
where are your servers?
Pennant Point.
Oh, okay. So they're offsite, yeah.
Yeah. So if,
I beg your pardon?
Is it okay if I ask one more question? I just have one more question. I'd like you to clarify why we have to purchase cyber insurance separately, why it's not covered under that package, because it seems very logical to me that that would be something that you would provide in your package.
so we all of us have to have our own cyber insurance. And of course, the insurance companies require that, so that if, then how can they tell, it's like car insurance, how can they tell where the breach happened? Did it happen with you or did it happen with me? So if it happens with me, meaning that someone managed to get Independent Point and hacked into the server there, then that's my problem. But what if you clicked on a malicious link and accessed a virus and then it came in through your computer? So if you're not insured, then who's gonna cover, I can't cover you and everything that you do. The insurance company just won't cover me for all of that.
Okay, I guess maybe I'm not asking my question correctly. If you're providing us with this service,
Mhm.
then your service should prevent my computer from getting maliciously attacked.
It will, but I can't stop you from what you do.
You can't.
And you could push it up to her then, if you get it bad.
If you go to we have a lot of different spam filters and we have a lot of, I don't know if you've ever noticed sometimes you go
Yeah,
click on a link and it says, are you sure you want to go there?
Yeah,
And you say, okay, I know what I'm doing and I go anyway. And then you end up landing on a malicious site.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh,
I get a
Yeah,
virus.
do.
I'm just saying though, but that to answer your question, that's why. Because I can't control what happens at the end point. Meaning the person on the other end.
NJSB can't control your actions.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that question. I guess what I'm asking is why isn't there a filter in the system? So even if I'm stupid, I'm protected.
So let me give an example. So we have had recently, someone in all the entire user group who sent out through an email their credit card number and their signature in an email, which is
That's a boo-boo.
right. And immediately we have filters through Microsoft that say, oh, we noticed that this got sent out. Did you mean to do that? If that wasn't you, you best let us know right away. And and then that person got really upset with us. I know what I'm doing. You can't stop me from doing that.
I had an email from an acquaintance that was very suspicious. And he asked if I shopped at Amazon. And I said,
Pretty standard.
no, I don't. What do you need? Or whatever have you? Sorry. And he wrote me back. He said, oh, that's okay. Excuse me, the conversation went on back and forth. He said, it ended up that this person needed me to buy Apple gift cards.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty standard.
And I said, okay, Joe, how much do you want to spend? And then he said $500. And he gave me the instructions that there's gonna be a silver whatever on the back that you lightly scratch, and I need it in $100 increments. And
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all gonna fall for that
meanwhile,
one.
I'm going on and I talked to my tech person and said, this is rubbish. But when I checked this person's email address, it was actually his email address.
Yeah, they spoofed it, yeah.
So you were able, you could,
It wasn't, the little down arrow or whatever it is to check a person's email address. It wasn't sent from Laura under this
Yeah,
person's
right.
name. It was sent from this person's name.
that's pretty brazen, isn't it?
Yeah,
You could identify that person, you
Yeah.
could report that person, which you should do to Amazon, but anyway.
well,
So I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
No, but that's okay, because I'm not very technically acute, so.
So when you say no, are you sure that it's like, we try hard to make it such that your computer endpoint cannot get hacked or they can't get into the actual endpoint through the network or anything, but we can't prevent what users do.
so the whole point of my story was, had I been using a village laptop and said, oh, okay, here, I'll get those cards for you. And bingo bango, ta-da, attack.
Yeah.
And, but that's my stupidity,
even-
not MJSB's fault.
And even
But
still,
only if it was a computer provided by you. For instance, although I have the commission email on my computer and my laptop and so on.
at home, you mean.
At home, which is the only thing I use.
Mhm.
Am I protected by you or are only the equipment that's below? Okay, so I don't have any protection at all when I use the commission email.
You probably have an antivirus on your computer.
Oh, I have lots
Yeah.
of protection on my computer.
Yeah,
But
so-
I'm talking about, I don't take any benefit from you in the commission email, just my own protections.
No, only
Okay.
other than you have the email address and that whatever you decide to do as a team. To make use of those tools, that's up to the team.
Well, this brings up another question of our need for cybersecurity insurance. You only protect the equipment that you supplied the commissioners, correct?
And the network.
And go on, Nancy. We're on our own when it comes to our own personal computers.
Endpoint,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Like for
So-
instance, suppose we decided to have a Zoom, are we protected?
No,
Not,
we don't provide Zoom
So what are we paying this $2,600 for?
because you use Microsoft 365 as a team.
Which we
Maybe-
all hate.
Yeah, I know,
So-
it is offered.
So there is no alternative. really.
Yeah, for what we offer, there's no alternative. Now, if you wanted to find someone else who was a Google track, for example, then you could use a different suite.
So
Just not
do
recommended.
all your customers, they're happy with Microsoft? It's only this group that doesn't like it?
The world has a love-hate relationship. I worked, with 12 different countries in Europe, and I worked in Asia, and I worked in the United States, and then I worked here, and I have not met anybody who said
nobody
Every-
likes MS.
it's not that they don't like it, it's just that they have to use it, and there are some areas of it that they would prefer that behave differently.
Has your company ever considered using it different?
We have not decided, we have not thought about moving to Google because it's. With all the other things you would have to build into it to get it to work, it would be less secure. As because you piece it all together.
Well, I'm driving down really ridiculous roads here. I'm nosy because I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's okay to be nosy, that's how you're gonna learn, but I think what you're asking opens it up for a discussion about. What is it that we're using and what level of support do we want to have and do we need to have? And then do we trust that we're getting the right support or the right service? And are we making the best use of it?
And
So-
Microsoft is basically the gold standard business. I mean,
That's what.
everybody uses Office, everybody
Yeah.
uses, there's no getting away from Microsoft. And Windows is theirs too. I mean, you guys are Mac people, but I guess there is that, but they don't offer any business level stuff at all, those guys.
There's Microsoft 365. for
Yeah,
Apple as well.
it's not the
I use
same
that.
though.
But it's still Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, they control the business level stuff.
Nice work if you can get it.
It is indeed. I'd like to be Bill.
I mean, really, the only thing that I am using as a commissioner is the email system. I'm not really exposed to anything else, and I haven't heard Heather complain, so I assume she's happy. And I haven't heard Maxine complain, so I assume she's happy. And those are the important people in this discussion.
Are you happy, Maxine?
Okay. I do encourage you to think about how you can use some of these services more to your advantage, if it's appropriate, you know.
Well, how can we use it to our advantage if we don't have the equipment? We're all using our own equipment.
Well, then it's a budget for equipment if you want to use. If you want to use equipment that comes from,
Well,
it's provided by that's a budget discussion for you. And you're.
Okay, so we're covered by your system only if we buy our equipment through you.
No, you can buy equipment through whomever you want, but we would set it up in a way that it was protected, if you will.
Why can't you set up our?
Because it's a person's personal equipment, purchased for person.
See, I'm driving down one of these side roads again.
Get off that way.
Sorry about this.
So we buy this equipment from them, is that how it goes?
This is it.
I thought we bought the stuff and they just load.
You can
Once
still
we've
go
got
either
it,
way,
yeah.
they can help with procurement, because
Yeah.
you're just dealing with one.
I always thought
You've already got that.
our equipment was bought by us and then your people just load her up
We can
with
do it
whatever
either
you
way.
want to put on.
At the end of the day, you pay for it. We can help with setting it up and making sure you've got the right stuff on it that everybody wants to have on it.
Or you can sell us the actual stuff and do that. Is that
No,
what you're
we
telling me?
don't, no.
You don't do hardware. then?
We buy it through somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but that can be procured through you guys if we desire to do it. See, I thought you were primarily to do with the software. I didn't realize the hardware was also
No.
provided.
Had those.
Yeah,
The other commissioners, they all had laptops or apples or.
whatever.
Not apples,
It's
iPads,
really
like-
challenging here because of the annual election thing. It's pretty standard in a municipality that new
for 4 years.
new devices are provided for an incoming council. But with the rotation, it makes it a little trickier, but it's certainly something that could be built into future budgets.
Can't you just move it from one human to the next?
You can, and that's, for example, what we do. We rotate on a 4-year cycle and then it's still a bit, like I inherited someone else's computer. And they just wiped it clean and then.
I inherited that
Yeah,
one.
so like a little.
When I
one
didn't
counselor
need it.
to another.
I just don't want 6 computers sitting around the house for different
Yeah,
things. Anyway,
Sorry, do you have any other
no,
questions or?
I think we.
yes, well, you
enough
covered
for one
the
thing.
material.
I'm happy to come out and to meet you actually.
Yeah, you,
Well,
did you grow up around here by chance?
in Lunenburg.
Cause you look very.
I just said you look familiar.
Yeah.
I spent some time here in my youth. In Chester.
Yeah, maybe it's that. Yeah, quite
Yeah.
likely. yeah.
During
Yeah.
Grace Week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, well,
Thank you very much for your
Thank
time
you.
and.
Thank you.
Thanks,
And
Lisa.
don't hesitate to bring me in again if you want to talk. about it.
thank you, thanks very much,
Okay.
thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
We should all make an individual appointment with you.
I'm not a technical person.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Oh, can she get in?
Yeah. All right, Heather, over to you for the report from the chief. Okay. So.
I know. They're probably sailing.
Do we have that in our?
No, you don't, no, it was, I got it through email. As the chief and deputy chief neither were available to come tonight, so they sent me their update. But I'll just read that aloud. Over the last month, CVFD has responded to 39 calls for service, with a significant number of those related to post-tropical storm Lee's wind-related damage. Engine 531, which has been out of service since the July 22nd floods, is expected to be back in service within the next week or so, pending final touches and inspection. A municipal-wide level 1 course is starting in November, with 5 CVFD members slated to attend, which is quite exciting that they have so many. The course is being coordinated by Bruce Blackwood and includes students from several of the 7 MODC fire departments. That was all I had from them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heather. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
All right, are there any questions that Heather might be able to answer? I understand that the fire department this weekend is doing training on Piglet Road.
Yeah.
Correct. They
Yeah,
have
blocking it off.
They have it blocked off for, I think it's 3 hours, 9 to 12 or 8 to 12.
9 till noon.
Nine till noon, yeah, or what?
It's till noon, I believe, so they're,
It's the rink and shore hand.
Just- Yeah, it's blocked off from the pottery shop to the rink,
Mhm.
and they're doing up the road and then over to.
So they're gonna cut in
To
through
the
the
rink.
shore hand and through the back.
Yeah, to the rink, yeah.
Now, this is not a tanker.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
I thought they were filling up the tank.
Humber.
That's, I didn't bring my phone, and I could have read it. Yeah, they're,
they're testing the feasibility of another way of accessing water.
Linking up other pumpers,
Yeah.
and sort of
David
chaining them up.
Richardson did that a number of years ago from the front harbor cove
yeah,
right up through to Shoreham.
What water resource are they looking to access for, you know?
Probably from there. From pumpers.
yeah.
The purpose of
Fill
the
all-
exercise is to test the premise of pumping water from the front harbor
Yeah,
to North Street.
Uh-huh.
All residents. That's a pretty long.
I guess before we leave this, it is Fire Prevention Week, if anybody was not aware of that, and there are some resources posted to our Facebook and our website.
And be careful when you're in the kitchen.
Don't set anything on fire.
So let's move on to section 5, the review and approval of the regular meeting minutes Wednesday, September 13th. Yes, Gloria, Geraldine.
I have a very minor comment on page 4, under flower baskets. It says the commission's preference was for sailboats. If I recall,
Or what?
4, under flower baskets, under 6.0.
6.0,
Almost
Six point
bottom.
two, sorry, the flower baskets,
yes.
and it said preference was for sailboats. My understanding of the conversation was the preference was for sea-related theme.
I was the one that
sailboats.
mentioned sailboats.
Yeah, sailboats
Yeah.
would be one of it, but
Not,
ocean related,
Sort of.
nautical, yeah. Like, I think sailboats kind of limits. You
Yeah,
could have a dolphin.
I just
I think
brought that, we all were asked what we liked.
Yeah.
and I said,
say the important item there is further discussion was deferred for a future meeting.
Yeah,
Well, I just,
So if
just didn't want the word sailboat, it's restrictive, that's all. I just wanted to.
Do you
be
want that
wider.
corrected or can it stand?
I guess.
You'd have to delete the whole sentence. probably.
It could just, sailboats could be deleted and replaced with nautical.
uh,
Yeah,
Or
Whatever you
EG
like.
sailboats or something like that, yeah.
it just caught my eye, no big deal.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I don't
Are
know.
there any other corrections? Sorry. Laura, you move.
I know, but
I'll second.
Thank you, Randy. All in favor? Carried.
Oh, Laura, what came of your visits to the businesses regarding the service dogs?
We never quite got.
well, I
reorganized.
did
Oh,
to
you
4, I
did
went
get-
to 4, one said, oh, that happened so long ago, it wasn't really a thing, and we blamed it on its staff. One was very receptive, another one again said the problem was in the new Canadians. Staff who weren't being trained enough, but I left them the,
Well, they should be trained.
they absolutely should be trained, and the fellow at the stretch center was. He was so apologetic, another new Canadian,
yeah,
and he thanked me very much, and he said if I was speaking to the person to apologize to them. And then I've been to the grocery store, but I've been saving the other 5 for when we go together.
Okay, because I was gonna say, you hurt my feelings, you didn't.
It would just happen, and then I saw there was a nice piece in the Municipal Insights that Ellen must have
Yeah.
posted that, because that was all sort of what we had talked about, she and I, so.
She's very good.
Thank you, Laura.
Do we have a motion on the floor, do we, or did we?
So it's all done. We're moving on now.
Keep up, Brandon, keep up.
You seconded the motion.
Yeah, but then no one voted. or
Yeah,
did
we did,
anything.
we all did.
Oh, okay, good. I'm cool with it, yeah, just.
We're having a brain cramp. That's okay, I had a big one last week. Business arising, 6.1. The proposed amendments to the meetings and procedures.
That's this one.
Heather, do you want to speak to this? Or,
What you'll see here is the changes from the last time are still there in red, so you can see them. And the further edits that you requested last time have been made and they're included in here.
How do we know what was changed from the last
Should
meeting?
be a red, oh,
There were it was some relatively minor.
I'm sure they were, yeah.
there is the question. On. Page. Whatever,
Oh, I had a
was
question.
the, why don't you go ahead with your question, Jody?
I was a little bit confused because 4.6 on page 10. We went 4.6 plus 4.6. If they're all meant to be the same, it's fine with me because they are pretty much the same subject. But we did get 4.6 entered twice.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
If
I
it was that a
correct
mistake,
That
I
would
mean,
be a mistake, yeah.
okay. Which would just change the numberings. I mean, it's
Mhm.
so insignificant.
Thank you.
And the other point that I needed to just a little bit of clarification, 4.7, which will become 4.8. I didn't quite understand this sentence. No decision shall be made at a private commission meeting except a decision concerning procedural matters or to give direction to staff or solicitor of the village.
That's
Does anybody understand that?
it's very straightforward.
Okay,
Procedural matters would be you're out of order. Or whatever,
okay,
and a motion or a decision can be made. To direct the clerk. To do something,
okay.
or Maxine to do something. Or the solicitor for the village.
okay.
So for example, when some contracts that are being discussed. When we're not quite ready to bring them into public session for approval. There may be direction to check something with the lawyer or something. That you can do in camera, but anything that's a decision can't be.
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah, we have to
So
come
we
out.
discuss it, we
Yeah.
come to a conclusion, but we don't actually pass a motion or anything until we come out.
Yeah.
All right.
Has to
Any
be public.
motions in camera are basically just direction
I
or
understand
a
that.
recommendation
Mm.
to.
But is private interchangeable with in camera in this case?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's where I
that's
got.
where you got thrown off.
Okay, meanwhile, I stopped looking, all right. The committee of the whole on page 11. Is listed as. That may meet once a month if required, on the
Number?
last Wednesday.
I've got
of every
one,
month.
page 11.
Sorry,
5.1, okay,
5.1, yes.
thank you.
Heather, where is the information on the regular meeting?
Oh, back up a little bit.
Page
Yeah.
9.
Back on page 9.
Um,
4.2.
Well, 2, I think. isn't it?
4.1, I've got second
yes, the
highlighted
second
because
Wednesday.
that one hadn't quite landed. Whether it would be the second or third. And I know the consideration of moving to the third was really about financial reporting. And given the more complex reporting, I actually would appreciate the third, because I can't start some of that work until a good week
There's
past the beginning of the month.
Other issue with having a closer relationship with bank reconciliation, the financial institution, and the general ledger reconciliation. Where you have on the bank side, so many checks that have not cleared. Whereas on the third Wednesday, you would have a more complete, more complete bank record. Surely to goodness, people will have cashed their checks by then.
One would hope, but
Yeah,
it gives
there
us a
are
chance.
people.
We have to, the bank reconciliation has to be completed before the monthly budget reconciliation can be done because it affects the totals. So it's, none of it's massively time consuming, it's just when we can access the information.
So do we want to open that again? And I think Nancy, you were the one that was going for the
I was
third.
going for the third Wednesday, but
There seems to be,
I thought we
we
settled
were
on the third
different.
Wednesday.
Well,
No, we didn't.
we
No,
talked
it-
around the subject and nothing was. But I mean, if everyone feels that would be better, did you have a problem with timing? No.
No,
Yeah,
I gotta
You-
check with my OHC meeting, because that's on our, gotta look it up with me, that's on a regular sort of,
Do you have your phone?
yeah, I don't have it on my phone. no.
You don't have it on your phone.
we could try it. And see,
provided Laura can make it.
Yeah,
We're not
let me
sure
just see. I could tell my next one. So we're almost.
Are they on
we're
the
almost
same
at
day
Christmas.
every month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second, I think it's not on a Wednesday, but I don't wanna have. Just give me a second, keep talking and I'll look.
it's not on a Wednesday?
No,
Well, I would go with whatever Heather is most comfortable with, since she's the one that does the work.
We could try for the third, so the next couple of months, next month would certainly be appreciated because the month starts on the first.
Yeah.
Or the first is a Wednesday, so it'd be really tight to try to get the information in time.
And
And
you,
then we have these situations where most statutory holidays fall on a Monday.
So that pushes
Sometimes
it back another day.
yeah,
Yes, this last this time, it's frustrating, it is to lose that day.
Yeah.
Got
So
anything?
give me a little calendar there if I would,
how about
thank you.
a temporary motion?
I move that
Is
we
there-
temporarily hold our regular monthly meetings on the third Wednesday of each month. Until we can assess whether or not it works for commissioners and staff. Does that work?
I'll second it.
Excellent, thank you.
I'll
Moved
second
by
that.
Geraldine,
Thank
seconded
you,
by
Gloria.
Gloria.
It's.
All those in favor?
Yep.
Upsy daisy.
Carried.
I much prefer I.
Okay, 6.2 proposed signing authority policy. Read that?
Six.
Yes, it is.
Did you say 6.2?
Yes,
Page 15.
page 15, 16.
It's 6.2 on page 12 is not.
Oh, it's a different.
15 now.
Did we finish?
What was the number?
Yeah, that was,
Page 15,
that policy was
yeah.
all part of one.
Oh, it's all one, okay.
Committee of the whole had its own little set of rules and all that sort of stuff.
6.2.
Did we finish it sufficiently?
Well, we have, it sounds like we should try this for a couple of months and then perhaps finalize the
Revisit,
policy.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Leave it as is for the
Just see what
moment.
December looks like.
Yeah.
I think we're getting,
We made a consensus there.
A lot of the changes, some of it is just making the language a little clearer.
Yeah, a lot of it would look just like
Yeah, it's just clarification.
old fashioned.
Does that fall on?
the
does that-
20th,
When's that? In
December. and they're getting.
So we are on page 15 and 16.
Okay.
Your package.
Not
No, no.
Maybe December is an exception.
Yeah, we can maybe switch back to the second on.
Yeah,
We'll adjust the calendars online, will you?
Yeah, we can change.
Yeah, we can
can
work
stick
it out.
with the second week for December because people do
was-
tend to wrap up a little earlier in that month.
Cause you've got all our meetings filled in there right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, all of it.
Well, we don't seem to be run with the public, so I think we're good.
All right. Are we prepared to review the signing authority policy?
Three and
Before,
by the.
was there a previous version of this, or is this all new?
New.
This is all new, okay.
Well, I guess we might have had something that said all commissioners
Or
have
something.
signing
Yeah,
authority.
And two must be on a check with that,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
well, this one provides for at least one being on the check,
With the,
assuming if Heather signs it or somebody, yeah.
I would prefer it reads, preferably it would be two commissioners on any signature, but.
That's
when-
what it says.
When you can't, then the chief,
One has to be a commissioner, minimum.
one must be a
Yeah.
commissioner. In 5.3, yeah, we did get by the twice.
So will you want, do you want Heather
Do you want Heather?
to look for two commissioners to sign first? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
That's
If
what
it's
we want to
easy,
do.
yeah, I would say it's always a priority to have two commissioners, but
Okay.
we don't feel, I don't feel at least that our work should be stuck if Heather can't find two commissioners or Maxine can't find two commissioners and Heather is available. There's no reason why she can't be the second
That's
signature.
in 4.2, but it just.
Yeah.
Preferences for both.
Okay.
And what, in 4.3, I'm sorry, Nancy, may I speak to that? or-
Sure.
Should we enlarge that to include like companies owned by the person who stands to be the recipient, or? If you're writing a check to Joe and he's not allowed to sign it. But what happens if his company is receiving the check? Is there any?
that's clearly a conflict of
Yeah.
interest.
Yeah.
I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Would it
Can we just
people
rephrase it?
who are
Say
the owners or
interest?
principal shareholders of something
Julian's Bakery.
should be able to sign, you know?
Can
They
we
themselves
just
are the
say for
recipient
which
or
they are
a
in a
conflict
conflict of
exists.
interest?
Yeah, I guess, and then that would mean we'd have to determine that, but yeah.
Arm's length or something.
Yeah, I just thought, sure, I can't sign my own check, but if my company is getting this check. That would, under this rule, I could still sign the check at that point. It wasn't me personally getting the money, right?
Yeah.
So I thought we should
understand
guard
what you're
against.
saying.
Yeah,
But it's certainly not appropriate.
yeah, oh yeah, but I mean, not being appropriate doesn't stop some
Yeah.
people from doing it.
I can add that.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, you, in some way, I don't quite know how to say. That was the only one I. Problems with that. This could be amended too, I suppose, at some later date.
For policies,
Yeah.
So Heather, would you make that one change
Mhm.
and bring it back? At our next meeting, please.
Thank you.
Now, item 6.3. Page 17. Request for decision. Now, we have many options. And little time.
Yes, if I can just speak to it a little bit, so we did certainly have a fulsome conversation about. The first two items, but didn't really land on a direction. So in terms of the only thing that's really time sensitive is the flower baskets and the wreaths, the flags. We have time for that. But the flower baskets and the wreaths both need to be ordered soon. So we do need to look at that. So we could, there's a number of options here that we could go ahead with ordering flowers for the upcoming season and work on the alternatives.
I
In
do
the
believe that
meantime.
we need the time
Mhm.
to work on appropriate alternatives. And there will be a great hue and cry when the flower baskets do not appear.
Or if,
Yeah, we need to give
Wow,
people
or if-
warning,
They do not appear.
yeah.
And I would say it would be a good idea if we could involve more people in the community as to the decision or the direction that we take.
Yeah, I would
With-
certainly recommend there be a communication plan and a public engagement
Yeah.
attached to that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so we go ahead at this point, and just,
but
So,
not the 2 or 3 years, I don't think.
no.
We have draft motions for the flower baskets. On page 18. I think we are not in a position at this point to do anything other than order the flower baskets this year.
I agree.
Who wanted the RFP, Carrie?
Harry asked for a 2 to 3
Yeah.
year contract.
Jeff mentioned that to me as well, that might be something to consider going forward. But if we are considering another alternative, then we could not.
Yes, Gloria.
How many, what's the minimum of baskets we can order?
We have been ordering 75.
Mhm.
There's a map. But we can certainly rethink the number.
Well, I was thinking if maybe if we could still go with flowers and then a decoration for on the poles, like just flowers here and then a couple of the decorations and flowers, that type of thing.
Then
If
you,
it would, cause it would lower our cost. For the baskets,
And
and then we'd always have the other decoration things will be up all the time.
yes, Gloria.
Geraldine, my concern, although I love the idea of that. I think that whoever is actually looking after the flowers
Hmm.
would probably cost just as much.
Oh, yes.
Because like having fewer baskets wouldn't make
Hmm.
maintaining them cheaper. I
We'll have
suspect.
to
Yeah.
talk with him
Yeah,
about that.
but if we
You're
were
right.
going to stick with baskets, having an RPF or a P over 3 years would be sensible because you could protect yourself from inflation. But I think I got the sense from our discussions that we were pretty clear that we wanted to at least have a meeting with people and discuss alternatives. So I don't think that a 2 or 3 year contract is wise at this time.
Well, the time to sign the contract will be in May. Maybe.
The flowers need to be ordered this month,
No,
but
I'm
the
talking about
contract is in the
contract.
spring. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have some wiggle room there.
Do we have prices yet?
For the flower baskets,
Estimated price?
the baskets, yes, the RFP for this,
Hmm,
the service.
but
no.
are the baskets changed significantly from last year?
Do we know they've gone up? They always are.
They're bound to go up a bit.
No, it's not that important at the moment. I just wanted to know whether there was this sudden massive increase in the price of these things.
Now, last year we ordered wreaths. How many did we order?
71. So the last couple, just to circle back on the wreath conversation, that will, so we have. There used to be 55 ordered, we dug out, going back a number of years, the last few years, it's been 75. We did get pricing and, to do 75 is a little more, well. More than the budget.
Yeah, surprise.
So, because of course, wreaths have gone up, those have gone up. Do you have one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, does this map show the difference between 75 or 55 placement?
That shows the 75.
75. So when we reduce to 55, where do we reduce?
That's what we'll have to do.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll have to look at the map. Let's see if we can find a map from when it was 55, because that may exist. And if not, make some choices.
So 55 comes in under budget then,
Correct.
whereas
Yeah.
75 is what, $800 under budget.
Did Jeff's wife do something with the wreaths last year, do the bowls or something?
No, Robin
Robert.
Carling does.
Robin
those.
makes the bows, but Jeff and Joanne put the bows.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah. So this one shows Carrie doing that.
So does this estimate include Carrie's fee to install them?
Yes.
Yeah, pick up an installation.
Yeah.
And remove.
I suppose if I'd read that line, I wouldn't have had to ask the question.
Okay, you're just getting it this minute, 'cause I just got the last numbers in this afternoon, so. I was hoping I'd have a figure by the time we got here tonight, and we do.
Yeah, it's
We
good.
have budgeted how much for the wreaths?
5,000.
Top line.
we do get our HST back, so.
We get a portion of it back. We don't get all of it back.
HST is not broken out, is it? No.
We still have to pay it up front.
Mm,
Get it back, so the end of the year.
So I guess if we go with the 55, we would concentrate on the downtown and then lose kind of the peripheral ones.
Yeah,
Like lose
if,
25 around the outside.
If one of you would be willing to kind of sit with us to identify what we could lose on the map, or if you all wanted to look at it. It's not a conversation we should have right this second.
No,
So,
But we got to order.
yes,
And did we discuss yet whether we're going to go for 55 or 75 of the flower pots? And will that affect Carrie's decision to maintain them?
well, as you say, I don't think it would really change his requirements very much.
I don't either.
It would change the cost of the baskets, but not really the maintenance.
No.
So that's not agree with you there.
Yeah,
Gloria has experience in this area.
yeah.
Yeah, I've done
It's a good number of years.
Yeah, 9 years.
I'm just wondering that you would have a better idea maybe of what could be gotten rid of if we choose to go that way.
Well, let's worry about that tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, no, I just. no.
So we're looking at a difference of $1,500 for the wreaths. Versus 55 versus 75.
Yeah.
We
something like
always
that.
had 55, that just changed. 3-4 years ago,
Pardon?
when one of our new clerk treasurers had come, he changed it to 75. It was always 55.
What are we talking about?
We're back
Yeah,
up.
it's the
back up.
flowers, yeah.
It always
Wreaths.
was
Wreaths.
55.
I'm inclined to think it's responsible if we stay within our budget, because what's the point of making? a
Yeah,
budget
exactly.
If we go anything else, and then we could meet at a later date and.
I second
decide.
that motion.
Well, we have to make it as a motion, but
So your motion, Laura?
I
is-
move that we proceed with the ordering of 55 Christmas wreaths, thereby remaining within our budget.
Second.
Moved by Laura, seconded by Geraldine. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And may I have a motion to proceed with the flower baskets this year?
I'll make a motion.
55 or 75?
Gloria,
Are we gonna do 55?
well. Let's have that discussion.
did that also get bumped out somewhere? in the
No,
last
it's
couple of
not,
years?
it's 175,
It's always been 75, Maxine?
that I remember.
So that goes back a ways, you know.
Try and see what, I mean, it's gonna save us money, right?
A little save money on the purchase, that's for sure, but I
Yeah.
assume the maintenance. will be
Gary
the
will want to
same.
get his money one way or the
Yeah.
other, which he will.
Yeah,
It'd be the
Yeah,
same group.
he's got to put them up,
Yeah,
he's got to
Maybe a
water.
little
them,
bit
you know.
less time, but not a lot.
yeah.
And as it was last year, Gloria, we had people begging to have flowers in other areas. So if we start cutting back, I think they'll be after us.
I,
Well, yes,
Geraldine.
I feel like since we're at a transition point. And we're going to be soliciting people's opinions, like have a meeting about this with the public. That perhaps it would be wise for us to just stay the course rather than
At
change.
least for this.
For
Yeah,
this year,
just
yeah.
for this year.
Yeah,
And
And
then,
then we can have a public meeting and discuss keeping the flower baskets or alternatives. But for this year, I suggest that we would be wise to stay the course.
And what is the cost for the flower baskets?
20,000.
No.
The budget is 22,000.
Yeah.
That's
The cost
partly
for
for
the
the
flowers
flowers
themselves
and
is,
the pickup and the installation and maintenance. The flowers themselves, yeah, I have to look into the line item.
But our total budget is approximately,
It's 22,000.
we might have to negotiate with Carrie, to keep his costs down, say we don't have any
but
budget.
the other thing is that we have to make sure we do this, because I feel that this time last year, we said, well, we'll do something different next year. And here
So
we are,
this time we
Yeah,
need
so
to
we
do it.
really need to plan this months ahead next
Okay.
year, so we have to put that in our calendar.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
This summer.
I can come back with
I'm
a
sorry, this
suggestion.
summer they were 48.99 plus tax a basket.
Oh, geez, that's not bad.
It's the maintenance, it's the big ticket.
Yeah,
Like I think the
48.99
baskets
is
were a couple of thousand, but the maintenance is.
I'm
State.
shocked that, I mean, to me, that's a good price for those baskets.
they don't have to do one every day. But they need to be fertilized more.
And with climate change though,
Yes.
and droughts and hurricanes,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to,
Yeah.
we really have to take that into consideration for future years.
I lost all my plants in that hurricane. Everything,
Every-
it all
every farmer
died. It was the
did.
combination of wind and rain.
yeah, the baskets were pretty much fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we took them all down.
They were in sad shape. Good.
Okay,
So
well, I'll
if
put
you
a
want
motion
to
on,
go,
do you want to put a motion on the table? No?
you want to go with 55 or 75?
I would like to put a motion on the floor that we maintain the level that of last year of 75 baskets. With the understanding that we will be consulting with the citizens of the village about potential alternatives.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Laura.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you, Laura. All those in favor?
I miss
Carried.
my eye.
And this is going to be a big project.
It is.
Consulting with the public
Yeah.
to determine what will make as many people as happy as possible.
There's going to be a lot of crazy people at that meeting.
Yes,
What the donation had.
so item 7 is correspondence.
Oh, yeah, correspondence.
The first item that I have is, I have to find it, is from Eleanor McMahon. From the Trans-Canada Trail. She has invited me to take a tour of the trail along with Chad Hahn and other people. This would be the Rum Runners Trail.
Mhm.
They'll be coming to Chester on October the 14th, Saturday.
Jeez.
I'm away, Heather's away, Laura is away.
I'm booked.
You're booked. So we have Randy and or Gloria. If you are interested, the schedule of events is at 1 o'clock. The participants would meet in the lobby of the Courtyard Marriott Hotel on Salter Street.
Oh,
And
this
the
is
bus
in Halifax.
arrives, yeah, just hang on a second. The bus arrives at the hotel. The participants board the bus. The bus leaves for the Rum Runners Trail near Chester. Arrival at East River Trailhead, which is point 1. Brief intro to the Nova Scotia trails and welcome to host Chad Hahn. So it goes on from there and there. I was thinking that what is the point in driving into Halifax?
Yeah,
Well,
really,
you can
yeah.
meet them at East River.
To take the bus down here. So Heather, would you ask Chad Hahn if we could send?
Yeah, I'll go if I'll
You
go
can
down.
meet them at East River.
Interested as well.
Wish I had my calendar book, cause I've got something on.
I'll bet you Chad is gonna be at East River too. I can practically guarantee he's not gonna go all the way into Halifax and
Yeah,
drive.
I
the bus
can't
there.
imagine that would be an issue, but I can definitely ask.
Would you ask him as well if Randy and Gloria could attend?
What time of day?
Yeah. No, I think I have something on the 14th, I'm pretty sure. I know,
Is it Nancy the thing?
Well, when
Sorry,
they get
what-
to East River, when do they arrive in East River?
They say 2:20 arrival at the East River Trailhead.
I could probably do that, yeah. Not 8
How
AM. away.
to walk it?
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's walk
gonna
to
do.
the first site, which is 1 kilometer, approximately 20 minutes.
excuse me.
Arrival at the bridge at 2:55. Chad gives a brief description of the damage and the repair efforts. You walk back to the bus,
Oh,
Now they
that's-
go around it.
drive to Marriott's Cove,
oh,
arrive at Marriott's Cove, take a brief walk at 3:45 PM. Chad gives a very brief description of destruction and repairs. And the participants board the bus. And then they will arrive at the hotel. So the only glitch I could see would be after being at Marriott's Cove.
well, you
Will the
put your
bus
car-
stop and let
You
you
could
drive
drive
off?
Well, you could drive your car.
Take
to
my
East
own car, but
River.
where am I gonna park once I get there? That's the
Mm.
question.
In Marriott's Cove.
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
who are the people on the bus? They are,
have no idea.
Trail
Chad
people, I
Hahn.
guess,
no,
yeah.
no, but like, are they?
Government folk,
Government
maybe?
I have a suggestion.
Yes, with
Why
that.
don't we ask Chad to write us a report?
Oh, it'd look good if somebody from the village was there.
Yeah, that sort of time frame. I wouldn't mind doing the East River part. I don't really know if I wanna go in.
East
Marriott's
Marriott
Cove.
Cove. yeah.
Sorry, her letter says, I'm writing to invite you to join us as together with our National Board of Directors. We visit sections, your community, this Saturday, October 14th. As part of a visit to the Rum Runners Trail and in particular. To see how the flooding in July impacted the trail. As you may know, the Trans-Canada Trail is the world's largest or longest. At 28,000 kilometers, touching 15,000 communities across Canada. As stewards of Canada's national trail, we are assisted ably by 500 plus trail groups across Canada, inclusive of municipalities, and driven in many cases by local volunteer organizations. Our provincial partner is Nova Scotia Trails. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing the East River part. I don't think I wanna go up to Marriott's Cove. I mean, I know what's one.
Maybe you can park in somebody's driveway in Marriott's Cove.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm just only interested in the East River end of it, I think. The
I
Marriott's
think it
Cove,
would be interesting to see the damage that was done in Marriott's Cove.
if I don't have to do the bus, I might be
Yeah.
willing to go there.
Yeah.
But I don't, if I could take my private car, that's one thing.
So. The trail sector leader, or as the trail sector leader in Canada. We recently released a study that looks at the economic, health, and environmental impact of the trail. Both across Canada and via 10 case studies, one of which is the Rum Runners Trail. The economic impact of the Rum Runners Trail is estimated at $15.5 billion annually. So we do get a lot of people through tourism, hiking the trail, biking the trail, and shopping in our village shops.
You think they come down from the
I
trail
don't
to the
know.
village?
Some do probably. A lot of bike people on bicycles.
So there you go. Thank you, Heather.
Well, Heather, have you got a copy of that or will you have, I'm just trying to get some
I have a
times
copy.
down here. And that you can maybe email me with the
Mhm.
time to be at East River mostly. Don't worry about the other.
Wear
part.
your hiking boots.
Well, yeah, that's not a big deal. That trail's in pretty good shape, it always
It
was.
was, but I don't know whether it is
Yeah.
after this summer.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
Well, He has been working.
The young Vaughn used to handle it, he kept it up pretty good.
Yeah.
But that was 15 years ago.
Okay, it is 8:15 or thereabouts. There's
Second
one
piece of
more.
correspondence.
One more piece of correspondence. From Major Douglas Publicover. He writes to say. That. Air Force Master Captain Evans Fay. Is retiring. From the Canadian Air Force. And as he calls Chester his home, he thought it would be nice, or Major Publicover thought it would be nice if we sent something to recognize his contribution in the Air Force and to wish him well in his retirement years. It says that after serving the CAF for over 13 years, Captain Fay, his spouse Thea, and their baby girl Amelia will remain in the Greenwood, Nova Scotia area. Although he calls Chester his home, I don't know where in Chester, and it's not Matt Fay's father.
Mary, them, no.
No,
She was a pharmacist. Mary's mother,
Mhm,
she was the curl.
mhm. Do you know any Fays?
No. I wondered, if no one knows of perhaps the wife being involved in groups of any sort.
His opening paragraph states, "I am writing to you today with the hope that your office will recognize the distinguished career of one of our valued Royal Canadian Air Force Master Captains, Captain Evan Fay, hails from Chester and credits it as his hometown."
Maybe your mother-in-law might know you pronounce her.
what's the name again?
Evan Fay.
Evan?
F-A-Y?
Yeah.
They're essentially looking for a letter, is that?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt us to send
No,
a
But
blank
it'd be
letter
nice to
saying
know if
best
it
wishes.
make the links or something,
Yeah.
because it's odd that,
To be able to insert personal
yeah,
Yeah,
information.
Mhm.
if Carol doesn't know him, he doesn't exist.
yeah, if Carol doesn't
Yeah.
know, that's the end of the story.
There might have been days here years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody here now.
All right, do we have your approval to write a note if?
Our hearty congratulations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
used to be you retired after 25 years, not 13.
Yeah,
She said the old man was in 32.
I know.
thank you very much. Over to you, Heather, your activity report.
Okay, I'll just read through the activity report. Insurance renewal has been completed for the Village and Chester Fire Services Committee and Fire Department. The fire department will now be covered under the committee's policy rather than the village. Paperwork to bind coverage has been signed, and there will be a bridge period between October 11th and the date of the preparation of the committee. There will be another additional piece on cyber insurance a little later this evening. In terms of the fire hall, the committee has held officer elections, and I'm pleased to offer congratulations to Colin McDonald, who will be the president of the body corporate and the chair, Norm Countway as vice chair, and Kurt Collicutt as the secretary treasurer. The committee have provided a recommended supplier to the commission and council for the fire hall pre-designed. We were hoping we might have that tonight, which is, you'll see it's on the agenda, but we're gonna have to defer that. The document's not quite finalized from procurement, so we want to have the same one that council has. Lido, the engineering report on the Lido's exterior wall has been delayed due to the engineer coming down with COVID. I don't have a revised ETA on this report yet, although I did speak to him today, actually, and I think we may get it Monday, Tuesday. We are also still awaiting an estimate from the mortaring supplier on rock wall repairs, and I had a little bit of an update on that today as well, just to say they're continuing to attempt to get one. I have had discussions with the municipal board staff and the accessibility coordinator about potential accessibility upgrades to the facility while we're looking at all these other pieces. Particularly the public washroom. Our best path forward is to have an accessibility audit done that also provides Class D estimates to give us more information on our options. There is a funding program with a deadline in February that may pay for such an audit, so I'm going to continue to look into that.
Thank you.
And
What does
then-
Class D estimate mean?
Oh, just
Plus or minus 20%.
yeah, it's a ballpark estimate
Yeah.
essentially, like an educated guess.
Yeah.
Rapid test kits, a shipment of rapid tests have been received from the province and the community was notified of their availability. We are providing them in packages of 2 kits. The first batch of 30 packages is gone now, but we do have more in the shipment, so we'll try and get some more together in the next day or 2. The residents who have come by to pick some up have been very grateful to get them.
That's amazing how
They're
they're.
working together, right?
They really did,
I didn't
yeah.
expect that, yeah.
Yeah, just like COVID is getting around.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's getting more common by the
Yeah.
day.
Yes, MODC's lawyer. as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's got it? Oh,
Rachel just tested positive for it this morning.
sorry,
My daughter tested positive for it this morning for it.
Laura,
Rachel,
Rachel.
Great.
Yeah.
she's
Oh, dear.
smeared?
yeah,
Hmm,
That'll
that should be
take a
fun.
chunk out of her semester, eh?
oh, just,
They-
yeah,
A week,
this week.
I think
Yeah,
it's a week now, yeah.
yeah, just a week. Down, my husband had it a week ago.
Danny did?
Yeah, I never got it. Not good. I tested every
So
day.
far, so good. I haven't
I
had
even
it
tested tonight before I came.
For which we thank you.
either. Yeah.
Back to face masks again.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah.
Starting tomorrow, you have to wear a face mask going into any medical place.
I thought the hospitals kept that on. Oh, no,
They just took it off
Yeah.
a week ago and now they're putting it back
Back
on.
okay.
Okay, Heather, on to the finances.
Finances, so the September bank statement has been reconciled, there's a summary report attached for you.
Yeah.
The Q3 tax revenue installment for the village and fire department was received on October 3rd, so that does not show up in the Q2 report.
There's a little word there.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
No, it's not in there. Because it was after September 30th.
Hmm.
HST rebates, the 3 overdue applications from 21-22 and 22-23 were sent on September 27th. And the biannual rebate application for the first half of this year was sent last week.
No money back yet.
No.
Did we find out why they were so bloody overdue?
They just, Jeff filled me in on it, that he didn't do them. He thought they were annual, they're semi-annual. He just didn't get to it, and, but he didn't even know that the last one from Dennis wasn't completed.
Okay.
But thank you, Heather. We will look.
Little catch
forward
up and get some money.
To full compensation.
Surplus to reserves, our auditor provided an accumulated surplus breakdown going back to 2017, and another document goes back even further. I'm working through this data with him to make the appropriate surplus deposits to reserves in Q3 and Q4. As cash flow permits, we have a review in the morning actually to go through some of his charts. Per my July update, the 23-24 budget identified the following amounts to be deposited to reserves as cash flow permits, so these are the budgeted ones. So the village has a reserve deposit for EMS. General government operating reserve, that one has already been done, and the Lido pool reserve. And then for the fire department, the loan principal payment was already completed. And there's a large figure for the fire apparatus reserve, so we'll address that once I know what I'm dealing with in terms of the surplus. But that will have to be sooner than later because of the bank separation that's coming. Budget variance report for Q2, that will be reviewed next.
A question, Heather.
Yes.
The $3,300 under general government operating reserve, that has nothing to do with surplus.
No, these are the budgeted ones, so there's surplus deposits to reserve, and then there's planned ones that were in your budget. So,
And then there's surplus.
Just to confuse the issue.
Well, I'll be looking forward to seeing those numbers.
yes, well. And the
Thank you.
difference between a single year's surplus and the accumulated, that's the piece I'm
I'm
trying to wrap my head around. Florence.
It's good you're having a consultation with the accountant.
Absolutely.
All right, Heather, do you want to continue on with the Q2? Or shall I open it to questions?
We into the variance thing?
We're just gonna.
Oh, okay, no, I wasn't sure what was meant. by it.
So page 30 of your package, we have the comparative income statement for the village. And this is again our revenue from as this is Q2, this is the first half of our fiscal year, so it's April 1st to September 30th.
Okay, my package is a little different.
Yes, because we added some pages.
So
You would have
talking about the
26.
reconciliation.
Yeah, you would have to be on page 26.
Yeah. Just.
Oh, no, sorry, the budget reconciliation or the not reconciliation?
25.
8.3.1.
Page 30.
Yeah, because we got the revised.
So that's what it looks like. So for those what you're looking for.
All right, carry on.
I think this is what she's talking about.
Do you want mine?
Because I don't care about that, it's always budget stuff. Variance, interest.
Yeah, in terms of revenue, so our tax revenue as of the end of September had the first half of the year, so that's all coming in. The offset grant was higher than anticipated, so that's nice.
What's an offset grant?
So that's the other HST program through the province, where everybody who applies for it basically gets a piece of the pot. And we
Okay.
never know how much that's gonna be, because it's not tied to our spend
Okay,
as opposed to the federal one, which is. So that all happened back in May, so. And then it just shows the transfer from the province with the grant for the work on the Lido. And we did have less come back from the federal government for lifeguards. Just really because of our staffing challenges, they only recognize a full-time staff person for the grant, and only one of them had enough hours.
Yeah,
So we had still that number of full-time equivalents.
Yeah.
With part-timers, but they don't recognize that, so.
the
let's get the one.
I take it the actual, as you say, doesn't include Q3 transfer from the municipality, right?
Correct, yeah.
Which is why it's so out of whack with
Yeah.
with what our budget is.
The governor, yes, that's.
We're
it's
missing the
it'll
tax.
catch up.
Yeah, oh, no, I understand, but when I first looked at this, I said, oh my God, we've only got like 35% left here. I mean, Jesus. But now I see that we're waiting for it. We got it.
Yeah,
It's just not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
that
own.
would show up in the Q3.
Yeah, that's fine.
2 ends September 30th.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
So then we go into our expenses, and so again, our left column shows the actual as of September 30th. and the right is the budgeted amount.
I have a couple, I mean, maybe other people.
And there are some notes
Now, this is your job.
tagged, but
Okay,
This is Randy's
let me
specialty.
get, well, sort of, most of the time I may not do that.
Minister.
Yes. Audit fees, so is Lawrence you're consulting with Lawrence being paid out of that?
no,
So in other words, is that
5,000?
done?
Yeah,
That's the
the
audit here,
3910 you see is the audit, so some of this.
that's
extra-
finalized.
Yes, yes.
So we could spend a little more of that money on you talking to Lawrence, is that
Yeah,
right?
he's doing some of that work to try to make some sense of our.
Okay,
surplus
it's just that we only
situation.
had 20% left, and
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I figured the audit was a done deal, but
It
you know.
is, yeah.
Office supplies, we must have grossly under budgeted some of these things.
Where's the office supply?
It's under administration, it's about 5 or 6 down.
Oh, yeah, got it.
We've only got like 5% of the money budgeted left, and we're only in Q2, end of
I
Q2.
think a lot of that, again, I think I might have mentioned this last time, some of that was really setting up for me, that wasn't necessarily covered.
Okay, so I just basically, we
Yeah,
must have
it's like-
under
You
budgeted.
got
Yeah.
stacks, when you got stacks of paper.
Yeah,
there
that's
that-
cool, that's cool.
So,
And the employment insurance, I assume, is set by the government, and they
Yeah.
cranked that up from what we thought they were gonna do.
yes.
I just noticed it. What was the other one here?
That
Canada
was-
pension, same way, I would
Yeah, We're
assume.
both higher than.
Okay, membership and dues, we only have, oh, well, that's practically done for the years now, so I don't really care about that. And we still have a 56% in total. I just don't like moving things around the budget to make them match. Now on sorry, is everybody okay with that page?
You're on a roll, Randy.
Yeah, well,
You
no.
go for it, Randy.
On page 32, I know you have note 5 there about elections. I forgot, I had the notes.
Oh, yes, I have, I didn't. probably-
We're way over on that.
Way over.
Is that our total town collection or just one of our lots or whatever?
That's for all of it. That's the compost line item. So that has, that's gotten quite a bit more expensive. The difference on this one is, it's bigger.
Sorry, you had notes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's the fuel surcharge.
And that's gonna
exactly,
kill
and
us.
it's very high.
we'll have to budget for that sucker next year.
So that's something we'll want to think about next year, that we either look at that, we either increase that, or possibly we look at dropping a month.
Yeah, well, it's just that with operations total, we're down to 11% left to go, and we've got 2 quarters to go.
Yeah.
So obviously somewhere we didn't really,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
But
wash-
compost is done.
Watch what it costs us separate
yeah,
compost is.
those things are likely to be available to be used. I understand that, yeah.
But the summer compost collection is done
Yeah.
until next fiscal.
November 11th, washrooms will be done.
And I assume there's no more landscaping for the.
No, well, that may not be
Talking about
true.
Compost collection,
Yeah, but the compost it's like 20% negative for the year, yeah.
but it's not, it's finished.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I understand, but
But
it
it
cost
is
us
over.
way more than we thought it was gonna, that's all. So it stood out to me. I understood your note and everything, but I thought, wow, we better get on that next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
4 months of summer compost collection is
It's
substantial.
killing us, yeah.
It's a big jump, but that's the way it is.
Now, again, with the gym block, we seem to be 25% over, and I assume that's the same reason. Gym block maintenance is now
Yeah.
$1,200 versus
Quite a lot
$1,000.
higher
Yeah,
This year than last.
so most of these seem to be that we were not aware we were gonna get smucked
Well,
for these things when we made the budget, is
you
that
gotta
correct?
remember the, government put the wage up. minimum
Yes.
wage.
Oh,
Right.
okay, cool.
Good point,
What
Maxie.
was that?
And land taxes waste collection now, will that go on, will that go on?
The land taxes are complete for the year. now.
And waste collection as well, okay, so
Yeah.
then that matters
Th-
not.
Those are all
Okay.
final.
Supervisor for Security Race Week, have we paid that yet?
We have, yes.
So that's not gonna change
Yep, that's
anymore. Okay, I figured that was the case. That's it.
All right.
Done.
Good job, Randy.
Well,
I thought it's on
picky, but
Does anyone have any further questions on the
more than
village fees?
1,600. On the,
Question.
excuse me,
God, the taxes are crazy. Did the rate go up or did the something go up this year? I don't know what happened.
It's really on assessment, so
Yeah,
land assessments all went up quite a lot
well, that's what it was, okay.
about a year ago.
Kathy
So,
pays those,
and
so
now
I
they're
didn't realize.
They're kind of
Yeah.
hitting now. It's a
How much
bit-
was the assessment gone up, like 5%, 1%?
I think it was even more than that.
Was it?
I'd have to dig into the
No,
file.
if you don't.
That's the
I
assessment.
certainly
Yeah.
can.
The municipality has nothing to do with
No,
that.
I
The
know
guy
that.
walks around and
Yeah.
says, that's worth $10,000.
It's
Yeah.
not even
And
a
it's
guy,
that's
it's a
the sales
computer.
of the houses too, right?
Well, Johnny didn't sell and Curry's didn't sell.
No, the way they do it is when that property sells, it goes into a computer and the computer changes it, like there's no human.
Used to be surrounding
No.
properties. Well, none of them got sold this year, I don't think.
You had a $5 million house there?
No, but the property surrounding the gym lot, nothing happened. there.
Oh.
Yeah, but they don't do it that close, they do it like, you know.
Yeah, tell me
in a
about
block, Yeah.
it. Across the street.
Yeah.
all right,
Okay,
Anything else on the
Ian,
village
there?
fees?
sorry,
anybody else have
On the
questions on the
village?
variance?
Okay, and then there's the skip ahead here. There's the fire department. Does anyone
Yes.
Where's the fire department?
That is on your page 34.
Thank you.
Schedule 8.32.
Yes,
Now, when I'm still not quite clear, I'm sorry, Nancy, I didn't put my hand up.
it's all right.
I'm still not quite clear about exactly how the finances work. Once the fire committee is up and running, do we simply like give them a chunk of money per quarter or per year or something? And then that's no longer our responsibility about how it's spent or?
Yeah, basically, everything that is the fire department's portion of what's in our bank account will move over to another bank account. So the municipality, when we get those quarterly installments, will just deposit their piece.
But we have a person on that committee, Nancy, obviously,
Yeah.
right now. And so we have input into management of the committee, but we
They have
don't
to come
have
to
any
us anyway.
input on financial decisions except through whoever is our representative,
Well, there are 6 people on the committee,
right?
and the village hands the money over to the committee, the fire department, and they spend it as they have always done.
This, the budget will be done.
Yes.
It'll still actually be me working with secretary treasurer and that committee to build the budget for next year. But then that has to still be approved by the commission and council.
But
So
right now-
essentially, it's the same system, only.
Right now, they have the budget that was established last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, day to day, it won't feel particularly different. It's just that there'll be 2 bank accounts instead of 1.
Okay. I was never quite clear on that, but I understand it better now.
Yeah, although Lawrence was the sort of the difference between the day to day, which is what we're mostly concerned with, and then the audit position, because the village is going to have a massive amount of value knocked off with this, with the transfer of
Yeah.
ownership.
Yeah.
are
So-
we going to get consideration for those assets or are we just giving them half?
Apparently, we're, according to the agreement, we're giving them half.
Somebody
Get
flew that, didn't
Nothing
we?
back for that,
What happened
Hang
there?
on a second.
sorry.
Don't get your knickers in an uproar or a knot. The people who paid for those assets are living in the village. They're living in District 7 and they're living in District 1, part of District 1. And they're living in outside the village in District 3. So we haven't paid for anything. The people who've received
Taxpayers.
the service are the ones who have paid for everything.
I guess, yeah.
This is
We have
just a
title to
common
this stuff.
transfer
Hmm.
from village ownership and control to the Fire Services Committee, which is very important because the Fire Services Committee represents all of the taxpayers who contribute to funding that service.
And who will own the new fire station? Will that be the committee as well?
It will be.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
essentially, it's in our name, I still have.
And we didn't pay for it according to what Nancy said.
Well,
Or
the-
taxpayers. money.
The village itself, all of those assets were paid for by, as Nancy said, the village on the
Taxes,
outside area,
yeah.
so. They consider that they've already paid their half because they have.
Yeah, well, I suppose makes sense, but if you're the registered owner of something and you're just giving half of it away, that's what it seems like. to
I
me.
know it seems that way,
Yeah.
but it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes
always-
perfect sense. I
Yeah.
guess I was looking at it at the.
Sorry, I'm off my high horse now. Carry on.
Page 35, if nobody else wants to talk.
Mhm.
The audit fees for volunteer Chester FD are finished, I assume, are they?
Same as the other, yes, this is the final
So there's
for,
about 20% left. Will that probably cover
and
what
that'll
we
be
needed?
part of that
Okay.
surplus work for Lawrence.
Number 7, that was the one. Why are we paying that much tax
Which
on
one?
I'm sorry, page 36.
Oh, the
Uh,
tax.
Yes. $1,600 on an empty lot. There's not, I assume that's the old Windjammer, is it?
Correct.
And that's the taxes for an empty lot?
It's a big property.
Yeah.
I guess.
I got an empty lot in my backyard, I got a big bill.
So it's the same as all the
Same
other
as the
taxes that we get now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the comms, the total for comms doesn't leave us a whole lot to come and go on. Top of page 36. With their spends, they had some pretty big spends this year, which leaves us with about 1.2% of budget left for the rest of the year. Hopefully, they're pretty well stocked
I
up
would
by
think they're
now.
done for the year. I have sent any of these line items. Cody has all this information as
Mhm.
well, and I've sent him the ledger breakdown of these particular line items so that he can look at them and.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I have no problem with it as
Yeah.
long as they don't want to spend
Overall-
another
Yeah,
$5,000.
overall, they're in good shape.
Maintenance did, the
They had
maintenance
refreshed the
didn't do
radio,
good.
didn't they?
Yeah,
So that was
I think
probably-
she put notes there. One is
Oh.
the pager, 6 new pagers. And the radio upgrades was the
Oh,
other biggie.
So that was,
There's no note for the fact that the maintenance is so far over budget.
Yeah, it's
Oh, no,
5 and
it's under
6.
budget. Sorry,
Yes.
it's under budget. I read it backwards.
I know it is a little counterintuitive.
Yeah.
This is showing us what's left.
Yeah, it's only the 2 that I picked up were over budget, yeah, but they were legit. I mean, there's nothing to say. I just wanted to make sure that they were not gonna want another 6,000 bucks for them. They got no money left from that budget.
That should be it for the.
Well, I mean, we give it to them, honestly.
Are there any more questions?
No, not for me.
Now, I have to find out where we're at. Oh,
Cyber insurance.
Oh, and
It's
I,
different numbers.
sorry, I do have one other little update, which again is the Q2. But we just heard this morning from Cody, there's some of the fit up costs for the new tanker, the 551.
What we bought, yeah.
Have now appeared and apparently I wasn't privy to that conversation, but it was agreed that it would come from the apparatus. Reserve at some point prior to me, I guess. I'm not sure when that conversation would have happened. So hoses and things like that. for the tanker.
Extra,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
We
remember that.
just got a
They
bill.
ordered last fiscal year, but never came.
Yeah,
oh,
Just coming.
Couldn't get it.
yeah, and they just arrived and we had to do a check and a bit of a
how much money is that?
rush. 26, yeah, it's 26, 27,000.
We are.
It was budgeted, but.
Yeah,
That's what happened last year. That was.
The fiscal year, digger just
Mhm.
got screwed.
All right.
But that money that didn't get spent. is the surplus, so that.
So
goes
now we
into
have to
the reserve.
sneak it out.
Still on a reserve, so it doesn't.
Yeah. and then we pull it
We'll have
back
to
in.
sneak it out of the surplus.
Yeah, yeah, put it back in.
Okay, we've heard 9.1, Lisa Bozak.
Yeah.
Now we're on to 9.2, request for decision, the cyber insurance. Which was also mentioned in Lisa's presentation. There's a motion on. My page 36.
Maybe 30, 40 for us, I think, or that.
40.
The Village of Chester proceed with adding cyber liability insurance to our coverage provided by CFC, which I don't know what that means.
It's a
That was
company,
her, Yeah,
yeah.
seems to be the name of the company.
Here's a quotation provided by our broker, Arthur J. Gallagher, Canada, for an annual premium of $2,400.
The difference in quotes was amazing.
It really
The other
was.
guys wanted like $10,000.
Well, he's our guy.
That was my first question of why there was such a spread.
And did he tell you?
He did, he said, apparently CFC are really the established leader in
Oh,
this
yeah,
section.
no question.
There's not a lot of competition in this sector, and he said all the other ones are at the level of. Like all the other ones are about the same price.
It was amazing, though, the difference
Yeah.
was.
But they're, because it's what they do, they're more aggressive in their fee structure.
Heather, can you tell me what, to me, it's highway robbery, but what is it they cover? I mean, what are they insuring?
They're, so
Oh,
that
it's
is
there.
the
Take-
attachment.
No, I mean, those are words. I want to know the actual facts.
It's really covering against,
Breaches.
yeah, it's about,
What are breaches? I mean, what does?
Hackers get in,
I mean,
steal
they
data.
can read your email?
Well, they don't care about that. They want to know
if they get into your files.
private stuff, you know, that has people's names and
They could have all of the village residents' names,
addresses.
addresses, tax things.
Their
Well-
addresses aren't. So there's always confidential information that
Internet accounts,
That-
passwords
yeah,
to
that
their
would,
accounts, stuff like that.
breach the Protection of Privacy Act if it were to become public. And even the school board had a breach last year.
Oh, yeah, it's too easy
It
nowadays.
happens a lot. But it basically, it covers us in the case of a breach, it covers legal in the case of a breach, it covers interruption of business if everything has to be
If they wipe
shut
us or
down and we
something,
have to,
We can't do any business because.
yeah.
they wiped it out or something.
O'Regan's Chev had 1,000 computers and 400 employees. They had to rebuild everything from zero, from Newfoundland to all across the Atlantic. O'Regan's last year.
If they,
Everything.
could they get into your bank account, would this insurance cover, like if they stole all of the money out of the bank account, would this insurance replace the money?
I don't know that would be the bank's insurance. If something happened to go, it
Must be
depends on
good
really
to
where
be
the
the
point
insurance
is.
business, hey?
Yeah,
The bank would not accept any request to transfer. Except a signed written request.
Payment card liability, so if they took our Visa card, if they got that thing, up to $1 million there.
Spend it on
Even when
eBay or
we
something.
do, transfers to reserves here, I either have to go over in person or I have to talk to her on the phone, but she has to talk to me, it can't just be on email. And that's part of their security protocol.
So the first part of this is the purchase for $2,400 from CFC. We've had a discussion.
So the,
Want
excuse
to
me, one more.
continue?
The. That pamphlet that came around from them. The last page was a tree of things that you should. Be covered for under one of these types of policies, what they would cover. And AJ Gallagher, who recommends these particular people, says, yes, the policy they offer covers all of those things on that tree, was my understanding. A pretty comprehensive tree that says. If you, yeah, if you're, no, it's at the very end somewhere.
Yeah, I read it,
I think it's part of doing business now.
They said,
Yes, you're right.
this is what you should get from your guy, if this is what you're gonna
Yeah,
buy, yeah,
yeah.
there it is, right there.
I think that's the thing I just showed you.
No, you showed me the next page. I think. Yes, that's it, sorry, I thought you were looking at that, okay. Anyway, it's,
It is a part of doing business.
now,
May I have a motion, please?
so,
Is there one-
Purchase.
is there one here?
The motion was already read, so we can just go so moved.
I will repeat it. Approve the addition of cyber liability insurance to the village's coverage from CFC
right,
as per the broker's quote for an annual premium of $2,400.
that takes us to next October, yeah. Another one across the budget.
Is someone gonna come and give us training, cybersecurity training?
That's a separate. issue.
That's a second.
Separate.
Oh,
Motion. So, have we got a mover here, a shaker? Thank you, Gloria.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Randy. All in favor? Carried unanimously. The second part of this is that the Village of Chester proceed rather with adding cybersecurity training to our IT services with the Municipal Joint Services Board for a cost of $210 a year, prorated for the remainder of 2023, 24. And that's $210 per commissioner?
No, total,
That's total.
that's total. It's $2.50 a month per person. So with the 7 of us,
Yeah,
times-
they give you a module to start you off and then
Yes.
little ones.
Yeah,
Every
there's
quarter.
an initial module that's more, that's bigger, but
You do
more
it
time
yourself a
commitment.
month.
Oh, you
It's
mean
all
you do it
online.
yourself? They don't
Yeah.
even come in and we're paying them $210 for this?
the whole
For
year.
the whole year.
That's not bad, actually.
And then
If
every
we
other
fix
month,
up.
there'll be like little update videos, and things like that too.
And do we get these on our own computers or only on the commission computers?
There's a portal that you can log into to get the lessons.
So we'll all get passwords and things like that.
It is. Just one of those things
I agree.
we have to do.
Nowadays, you don't,
It'll make the insurers happy.
but they might still get it, so it doesn't matter what.
As Lisa was saying, that their insurers require them to offer it. I checked our policy and it doesn't say that we have to have it, but I bet it won't be long before it does.
You can bet. Breaches are happening everywhere all the time.
And the scams are very, very sophisticated.
All right. it's
So
my
do we
turn now.
want to vote on that one
It's,
then?
it's my turn now to get a brain cramp. Did we, yes, we voted and it was carried unanimously. to
Not
get
for the
the
train-
cert- the
Yeah.
First,
cyber
to get the insurance.
insurance
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Now, shall we proceed with the second motion, which is the procedure, proceeding with the adding the cybersecurity training to our IT services?
I'll move that
I'll
as written.
second.
Thank you, Randy, seconded by Gloria. All those in favor? Unanimous, thank you very much. And this insurance package will go away. And 9.3 has been,
Accessibility,
It's free.
Oh,
words to
just
come.
information.
Pins or something, isn't it? Yeah.
9.4 is proposed heritage buildings project.
What page is that on?
It's not on any.
It's on the agenda.
Thank you.
This is the Nancy special.
Yeah. And it kind of reflects back on the. Do we go with? A decision, do we go with flags? Banner flags on poles? Or do we go with marking? Historic properties with
an old photo of the property taken in 1893 or whatever, if we can go back that far. And either hanging the photograph and the blurb about the building on the building itself, or if there's grassy space, we could hang it from a type of real estate sign, wrought iron or iron rather than the big wooden one. And the project would sort of look like this. I've chosen St. Stephen's because it's kind of interesting. It was built in 1840. That's the second church on that site. The first church, well, Thomas Lloyd, a missionary for the propagation of the gospel, arrived in Chester in September 1794. Dr. Jonathan Prescott and other local citizens made plans to build a church with Thomas Lloyd as minister to the parishioners. Mr. Lloyd was caught in a blizzard on his way to Windsor, Nova Scotia in 1795 and died of exposure. His frozen remains were interred in the proposed churchyard. The first church built on this site was built in the summer of 1795 over Mr. Lloyd's remains.
Cool.
Yeah. The church was taken down on Monday, June 22nd, 1840. The new church was constructed and Sunday service was held the following week on June 28th, 1840.
That's a nice little, the thing about the guy freezing or being buried there. Cool.
Well, there's so many things that the church, St. Stephen's has a cross at the front made from the keel of the young teaser, which was blown up by its own crew or by a crazy crew member in 1812, 1813.
During the war, yeah.
During the British US war. They say that a couple of sailors on the young teaser are interred in the churchyard.
Under the church?
Not under the church, and as a matter of fact, probably not even in the cemetery itself.
Just
But
somewhere in the
out-
vicinity.
Outside the fence.
Ah.
Because they were pirates,
They were bad
privateers,
guys.
they were bad guys, and
No, I think that's.
Well, I think it's a great, beautiful, I mean, I can see it being quite beautifully produced, but wouldn't that be part of our meeting with the public about alternatives?
it could be, or we could start only with the Heritage Corner area, which would be Lordley House, St. Stephen's, St. Augustine's, Zoe Valley Library, and possibly carry down to the United Baptist Church.
Those are all important. Should we discuss this with the Historical Society folks? I don't know, I'm just throwing that out.
Have been working with them. I've also been working with the municipality. I sent a note to Pam Myra asking about historical, non-registered historical properties. And she sent my note on to the planning department, and Heather Archibald came back with a photo image of actually the house next door to me, which was built in 1914, not particularly historical, but around 1989, 1990, the federal government gave the province money to
find out about the built heritage in Nova Scotia. Tony Eisner did a lot of,
Yes, I remember
The work.
Tony doing. They'll have plaques,
well,
or they did most, they had little plaques that he used. to
this
do.
was all recorded on paper.
Hmm.
But there's
With
the-
the date.
Is that
of-
related to these little plaques that you see around? No, okay,
That would be an individual's own initiative
okay.
to have their property
I thought
registered.
Tony's people did that.
But this would give the a photograph of the house, date that it was built, a listing of all of the owners of the house, because in those days, the registry of the deeds were all registered in the municipality itself, in the big safe that they have in the municipal building, which made it very easy to search the deeds and get the information that you were looking for. So I'm proposing that we work on this using the money that we have in the, what is it?
It's, tourism.
Tourism,
Tourism.
that's right. And start small and build on it. And I've been
Tourism
in-
attraction projects.
yeah.
it's called.
and-
People are really into genealogy and history more than ever, I find.
Yes.
So it's a big business.
Yeah. And there's some fascinating stories.
Yeah.
We, all of these records, this inventory, they have, the microfiche information and numbers associated to them or with them. Heather Archibald wrote to Dan Pittman, who is the records management person at the municipality, and got back to me and said, well, yes, we will be releasing this information. It will be redacted.
Yeah.
So I wrote Heather back and I said, oh, please don't redact the names of the owners of the building, because it gives you that history throughout time. I'm hoping that the only stuff that will be redacted would be something like, well, my 1914 next door neighbor was Samuel Allen Esquire. Scientist was his profession. He grew up somewhere in the States. And one of the comments by the person who did this history was, well, Mr. Allen must have worked with radium because his hands were all misshapen and scarred or something like that. So that type of thing I would expect to possibly be rejected.
Too bad, that's.
That's the interesting part.
Exactly, exactly. Anyway, you
I
understand,
didn't think
Nowadays,
if it's 100
though-
years old, or I can't even imagine why.
However, all of this information is at the Chester Municipal Heritage Society in a binder this thick of paper. And so what goes on the picture of the house and gets written underneath, doesn't matter if it's been redacted or not. I've got the original.
Oh, yeah. But will you get in trouble, you know, like,
Possibly.
this is what makes it interesting.
I agree
Love
with you, Randy.
stories.
You know, he was a pirate, he was a rum runner, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, buried under the church, I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I do admit, I have sent an email off to Don Harwood Jones, who does tours of the church. To verify whether or not Mr. Lloyd actually
Is.
was buried under the church.
Do we care? As long as it's a
No,
good
it's not a
story.
great story.
I know.
It's like the Marie Celeste, you don't know if it exists or not.
I often tell Carol, Gloria's mother-in-law, that I think it's a whole big project that those stories get passed on, because Carol's you have a lot of
Yeah.
stories. And,
Not nearly what Carol.
but they
Carol's
need
got,
to
Carol's
be,
got the goods on
they
everybody.
need to go to the next generation.
Yeah,
Because otherwise they'll be lost.
That's
So
right.
there's a whole summer project for that, I think.
Absolutely.
Even just interviews to
Yeah.
record
yeah,
it.
I mean, I could see applying for a foundation grant or something.
So is it okay with you? That we start this heritage project. In the Heritage Corner area.
Well,
And
I'm feeling like I don't really have a grasp on what we're agreeing to.
well. Explain it to me.
You've got to explain it to me.
We have funds in the budget. For tourism. So how are we gonna spend that money?
Well, there, I think is where I'm feeling a little fuzzy, like, we've got some money for tourism. Are we gonna spend it all on this project, or do we have alternatives? I mean, have we thought this through? I think it's a fantastic project, don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering, should we look at that tourism budget and decide if that is all gonna be put on this project?
We
Or,
would probably need to budget this project.
yeah, like, I feel like it's not budgeted, it has to
Okay.
go through or anything, but I love it.
And flags, so this replaces flags, or is it in conjunction with? flags?
I would use it to replace flags.
Okay, I'm down with this one, I already.
Yeah, me too. I think it's fantastic.
Walk. Usually looking straight ahead, more often looking down.
Great.
They never walk looking up where the flags would be.
No,
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I would just kind of like to have a, like, a package, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know I'm not being very articulate.
More
now.
in depth. of what
well,
we're
it's
doing.
early in the game, we don't have a written proposal or anything at this point.
That we don't know how much it's gonna cost to make them, so I think we should follow through. I think it's a beautiful idea. And I could see that we could apply for foundation grants to expand it, because there's lots of heritage money floating around out there.
Exactly.
And it should be in conjunction with the Heritage Society.
And definitely, I think
because
the
you don't wanna
Heritage
do it
Society
twice in
should
separate
like
paths.
be officially involved, even if it's only that they give us permission to put their little logo on it or something, but I wouldn't want them to. I know you've talked to them, but I'd like them to be officially
Mhm.
tied into it, because I wouldn't want anybody's feelings to be hurt because they've done such good work.
And Heather Archibald had many suggestions of grant monies.
I would like to hear that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heritage money floating around.
Is Heather pretty into the old houses and all that stuff?
I don't know, but she certainly, I wrote her and I said, only if you have easy access to this information.
Oh, sounds like. it might be
And
interesting.
she fired it almost immediately right back. So,
But we go with Carol, we don't have to read that.
all right, so
We'll have the extra add on.
what would you suggest a proposed budget be? For the Lordley House, Zoe Ballet, St. Stephen's. St. Augustine's.
I don't think we can do a proposed budget until we do some costing, do you?
I
Well,
think
it would-
the hardware of setting it up will probably be the most expensive thing. A lot of this is intellectual sort of
Yeah,
knowledge.
it would be the budget that would determine what the costing is.
What is the total budget? Heather?
10,000.
10,000.
Didn't we spend, oh no, we spent the other one, that was grants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we would have to do some research into different materials that would stand up to being outside and the weather. So
And we could get.
that I think we would probably have to do pretty much, that'd be the first thing really, is to talk through how you're picturing this going up and see what we can find in terms of,
Well,
there's lots of styles of these kind of-
laminating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's the cemetery in Lunenburg, there's a historic society. Put up a bunch of markers on some of the more
Yeah, I
notable
saw
ones
those,
there,
yeah.
and they're they might, the type that they went with might be something to look at, and they can. talk
See,
about
I would prefer to cost it before we set a budget, because then we would know, could we do all 5? And if we can only do, say, 1 a year, we could prioritize the sequence or something, but I just like a little bit of a sense of cost. Because if we say we put the whole $10,000 in, then we don't have any options. Or if we budget $5,000, then we can only do 2 properties. I'd just like to see some
Hmm.
costing.
We don't want
have
this-
to decide today.
We don't want it to be a cheesy affair.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
Yeah.
right.
Because this looks so lovely.
Oh, yeah, I like
I'd like it to be, to look good.
All right, Heather,
I can do
Yeah.
a big.
Heather, go to work.
thank you.
It's kind of a vague thing, but you know.
I do.
Give
Give
us something
the
to
answer,
replace the
Heather.
fire department at least.
So now we are on 9.5. VOC pins.
Oh, yeah, the pins. I forgot about them.
So this was a request that came up in one of our previous discussions about having a lapel pin with the village logo on it, so I went to, sorry, it's getting to be that point in the evening. I'm getting-
Yeah.
So I looked at a couple different suppliers. I like this first one for the lapel pins. I think they're nicer, and there's 3 different sort of levels of quality. I can ask them to send us samples as well.
I like number 2, I really like that.
Soft enamel job.
What's the difference between custom hard and custom soft?
Okay, so.
Yeah, they must be some kind of rubbery substance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything.
I like it's got more like a.
It's raised, it's embossed.
Yeah, they're raised.
It's embossed.
So,
Yeah.
They're way more expensive than I anticipated.
Well, the other ones are worse.
and
No, I meant the all of them
Oh,
were more
yeah,
expensive than I anticipated.
What is a 2 military clutch?
that's
Just
the
the way it-
kind of pin on it's like the.
Poke through, put it back on it, or,
Yeah.
yeah. That's I always wondered what that was called. They have that little metal thing that comes
Yeah.
off, you
Yeah.
poke it through,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it, yeah. That's how they hold like
And
rank.
you can
things.
also wear them for earrings.
Most of them have that kind of a pin, but some of them have like more the, like the safety pin where one side is flat. and
No,
two
they're
long.
too clunky,
But
but
yeah,
Well, we have the cost.
And then who's getting these pins becomes the
Yeah,
next
that was the
question.
next
Either we're
question.
giving them away willy-nilly or giving them when we host our conference and our fancy new fire.
100 pieces seems to be about, I don't think we need 200 at this point.
I still have my pins.
Cheaper by the dozen.
yeah.
Tata they gave us pins, and who else gave us pins last year?
Pins are lovely, but you do need to, if we're going to pay for them, we need to know why we're paying for them.
And we would
Do
order them.
we have lapels? No, you do, Gerald.
I have a lapel.
Yeah.
You can use your suspender.
Yeah.
We did orders of 1,200 at a time in Lunenburg for these things, because we would give them away quite a lot. So we would want to think about usage. Obviously, we're not gonna have as much as that, but.
Well, this is US dollars too.
Yeah, and also look at the way the unit price
that's
drops
right.
when you go from 100 to 350.
Oh, I thought this, oh, yes, you're right, it's US. I thought these were cheaper, but now you look at these, they're not so bad. They're not US, these ones. Well, I don't think we're looking for stickers, that's for sure. And the other company gave us a quote on peel off stickers.
Yeah, it wasn't, and that wouldn't be for putting on your lapel. That was another idea. Somebody mentioned it, something.
That was me.
That while I was on the pins, I
Yeah.
thought I'd check into stickers that we could put on envelopes or whatever, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're for almost like,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Getting late.
yeah,
Get this over.
getting very late.
almost 9:15. May I suggest that we defer this pin?
Excellent suggestion.
And
Yeah,
Item 9.6,
We,
you have the information on accessibility.
this is an FYI, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes. There's one more thing
Yeah.
that I want to add. Randy, Remembrance Day.
Yes,
Did you place the wreath
I did last year,
last year?
yes. You weren't available for something that was.
I was available. I've had that honor,
Yeah,
and I think it should be shared. And I think Geraldine, that you were the only other armed forces brat
I
left.
am indeed and proud of it. I'm a Navy brat.
I felt quite proud to actually go up
Oh,
there.
yeah. It's-
Poor old Marty
it's
was off of
emotional,
it.
you
off of
know?
it,
Oh,
but-
yeah.
My father was very emotional about Remembrance Day.
Yeah, my father too was too.
He lost a
They
lot of
always had a
friends in this-
parade or something,
Yeah.
that would all parade and do stuff on the base, on the
Would
base.
you please do the commission the honor?
I would be honored to do
If
so.
you do not find that it's possible for some reason or another, I would be willing to take your.
Well, thank you, Randy, but our family actually makes a pilgrimage. The whole crowd goes.
I always go every year anyway, so I'll be there when.
Well, if I have COVID, you're my back.
Yeah, or something, yes.
Yeah.
No,
No, exactly.
that's one thing you don't have to convince me.
Are you a military brat as well?
My grandfather was in the military.
Oh, yeah, well, you're
Yeah,
you're a grad.
All right, you're the new kid on the totem pole, so you'll be up next
You're
year.
net.
Okay.
There's nothing in camera. So the next regular meeting, I'm sorry, the committee roundtable, I think we said all we have to say.
I think so.
Thank
We're all
you.
asleep here.
Yeah,
Something.
and the next meeting will be November 15th.
Oh, we're gonna try the late one, aren't we now? Yeah, it's gonna. Third Wednesdays, the two,
May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Thank you.
Done. Done.
Oh,
Lord.
yeah.
We're still live streaming on.
I don't know whether I have enough energy to drive home.